So this was a thing that Iranaeus always pushed for, is this showing this chain of custody. And like I say, there are passages in Iranaeus where he comes right out and states that the Catholic Church was founded at Rome by Peter and Paul. And we know, just from reading the epistle to the Romans, that Paul did not found the church at Rome, because he is writing to a group of Christians that are already at the church that is in Rome. And he makes mention of this several times in the first chapter of the Epistle to the Romans, is that he hopes to come and visit them, that he wants to go and help them become firmly established in the faith and impart to them perhaps some gift of some sort, but he has always been prevented from going there. And if we trust what we can read in the book of Acts, he lived out his life in Rome in chains, because he had declared that he wanted to have his case heard before Caesar, which at the time would have been Nero. And then, of course, after that, we have all bogus stories about him going to Spain, going to Britain, but nothing that has ever been totally accepted as the truth by a large audience. But he states unequivocally that Peter and Paul both started that church in Rome, and that all churches everywhere throughout the entire world have to answer to that church. And this is what I've been stating all along, is that whether you want to answer to Rome and Rome's authority or not, if you worship Jesus Christ, you are worshiping the God of the phony Church of Rome. And when we are reading the Bible, we are reading the scriptures that that church gave us. I know even fundamentalist Christians will point back to Iranaeus and everyone else and point out the fact that he said that these are the four, and that's the four we got, and blah, blah, blah. Well, that was the decision made by the Catholic Church. Why do we accept their scriptures and their God if they're a phony church? But let me get back to Papias, and let Papias speak for himself. Papias himself, in the preface to the Discourses, by no means declares that he was himself a hearer and an eyewitness of the holy apostles, but he shows by the words which he uses that he received the doctrines of faith from those who were their friends. And this is so. You can look and you can once again see like a chain of custody, and it goes from the apostles to the elders, and then in this instance it was the people who heard the elders speak and then related those things second hand to Papias. You see, so Papias is like the fourth in the chain. And yet Iranaeus tries to tell you that he was a hearer of John. not so at all. And it comes out pretty clear when we let Papias speak for himself. Papias, in the introductions to his books, makes it manifest that he was not a hearer and an eyewitness of the holy apostles. But I shall not be unwilling to put down, along with my interpretations. Now, this is supposedly a quote out of his fourth book, although the church, even though they admit they were very popular and in great circulation, supposedly at the time that this was written, that nobody bothered to save a copy. We've just got fragments. Whatsoever instructions I received with care at any time from the elders, and stored up with care in my memory, assuring you at the same time of their truth. I did not, like the multitude, take pleasure in those who spoke much, but in those who taught the truth. That probably wouldn't be too bad of a suggestion for our Christians today. Listen to people that tell you the truth, not the people that get you all excited. Nor in those who related strange commandments, but in those who rehearsed the commandments given by the Lord to faith, and proceeding from the truth itself. If then anyone who had attended on the elders came, in other words, someone who heard this second-hand information to begin with, came, I asked minutely after their sayings, what Andrew or Peter said, or what was said by Philip, or by Thomas, or by James, or by John, or by Matthew, or by any other of the Lord's disciples. You see, so Eusebius himself is saying that he got this secondhand from people who attended the elders, and the elders are the ones that heard the apostles. So you see, so this is fourth-hand information, and we know how twisted things can become just sometimes when they've just gone from one person to the next. And also which things that Arist John and the Presbyter John, see, not the Apostle John, but Presbyter John, the disciples of the Lord, in other words, that was probably just simply a title. If you were a Christian, you were a disciple of the Lord. What these two say. For I imagine that what was to be got from books was not so profitable to me as what came from the living and abiding voice. So this is supposedly what he wrote in a book that does not exist. We have very little attestation to the fact that these books did exist to begin with. One of those that we've gotten that information from, we've seen how he lied and said that Papias was a hearer of John, knowing full well that what he said was that he was a hearer of Presbyter John, not the Apostle John. And it looks like I'm going to run out of time again, so I'll pick this up in the next segment.